Hello and welcome to another Godfather Minute.
I'm Alex Robinson.
And I'm Andy Robinson.
And together we are the Godfather Minute Brothers. Oh, we did it there perfectly.
Maybe a first.
Yeah, might be the first time. You should snip that out and patch it into all the other episodes before this.
You mean us saying that, wow, that was a first?
Yeah, that part.
Like put that part in earlier?
Yeah. And I never have to do it again. We can just use that opening every time.
Well, I have interesting news. We actually did it, and what you're listening to now is the spliced version.
What? That's crazy.
You don't even exist right now. We recorded this 40 years ago.
You don't even exist right now. Dude, do you even exist?
You're completely digital, man.
Well, we are talking about minute 62. 62. You're behind the times.
I am.
Minute 62, which would translate into Minuta numero el duce quantra.
You're close, Alex.
What
Try
is it?
again.
Minuto. Numero. Kwanzaa.
60 is sesanta.
Sesanta.
You remember that from last time you said it was so easy. I'm just saying Santa.
Yeah.
Sesanta.
Sesanta.
Due.
62.
You got it.
No, that's easy. Minuto numero 62.
You got it.
Whew, that was a good one. Anyway, that is minute 62 for you American speakers out there. Minute 62, not a lot of action this minute. It's the tail end of Mikey and Kay having their somewhat sullen dinner. Kay asks Mikey when will he tells her you should go back to New Hampshire where you belong. He'll call her when he gets back when things settle down, and when will I see you again, she says. And what does he say? I don't know, or does he just leave?
Yeah, he says I don't know.
He leaves to go to the hospital.
Yeah.
And the minute ends with his taxi cab pulling up outside the hospital, where his father is.
And there's the last second where he kind of looks around outside.
Yeah.
And we'll find out in minute 63 why he's looking around.
All right. So we'll be back next week.
All right. Thanks a lot.
Go to summary of what happens in the Godfather.
Go to Fredo Corleone's Mickey Mouse nightclub.
That'd be a great minute-by-minute podcast where it was literally just someone describing what happens and then it just ends.
And they have 1 minute to do it.
Oh, that's good too. Yeah.
Well, I guess you could just watch the movie then. If a listener is going to spend 1 minute listening to a summary, they might as well just watch the minute.
But it's for blind people.
Oh, okay. All right.
Have we ever talked about that? The audio description feature of...
No.
It's a growing trend nowadays for people who are blind or hard of seeing that if you go to like Netflix and stuff, you look at the audio menu, it'll be like English, 5.0 surround sound, Spanish, then it'll be descriptive audio. And it's basically the dialogue is still the same, but there's a narrator saying, Kay picks up her glass of wine and drinks it. And then
saying it, or you're reading that?
No, describe like audio, describing it, everything that happens on screen.
Oh, and so that's...
Michael stands up and goes to get a taxi cab. Taxi cab pulls up and Michael emerges. So
these are for folks who are visually impaired. So they're hearing the dialogue, but they're not seeing the action.
Yeah.
Physically what's going on.
Yeah.
Oh, interesting.
So,
have you tried it?
I have tried it.
Did you try it with The Godfather?
I didn't try it with The Godfather. I watched the show Riverdale, and it's you can't do that. I mean, it can be distracting, obviously.
Yeah,
but there's a certain novelty to it of So anyway,
so does it? I'm intrigued. I'll listen to something later with it.
Yeah.
Do they do it for every single action taking place, or just kind of the big picture motions?
I think anything. I mean, I don't think they'll be like while someone's talking. Oh, Michael, brushes his hair out of his face, but they do say stuff like, "Oh, he picks up the glass and takes a drink or whatever." And assuming it doesn't overlap with the dialogue, because that always takes precedent to the dialogue.
Yeah, I guess if I were designing this feature when someone was speaking, like if Mike is saying to Kay, I don't know when I'm going to come back, I would have the narrator concurrently say, Michael's explaining to Kay that he won't be able to come. He's not sure when he's going to see her. I don't know when I'll see you again. He's not sure when he'll see her again.
Wait, so you would so there'd be only the narrator?
No, both.
Oh, okay.
In case you didn't get it.
Oh, I
It'd
think
always be right afterwards.
it almost sounds like you do the foreign movie where you're like basically a translator is saying like, "Oh, Michael is telling her that he won't be able to see her again. And she go back to New Hampshire." Anyway, yeah, check that out. Descriptive audio. It's a fun little feature.
I do like when you're listening to a news story.
Me?
Any of us.
Oh, okay.
The third person singular one or you are listening to a news story. Like NPR does this a lot, and the interview is in a language other than English, and they'll start it in that language, but after about 2 seconds, that volume will go down, and then you'll hear the English translation, and you'll hear the foreign language underneath, but way down.
Yeah.
So you just in case you're tuning in at that moment, you know that the original language of narration is not English.
Yeah.
Kind of fun.
Watching a lot of history documentaries, they do a lot of that kind of stuff. And it's always fun hearing what kind of approach they take to it. Like how much acting does the translator do?
Oh, yeah.
Are they like, we couldn't believe it. They came into our house. They were terrorizing us. Or are they just like reading it straight without emotion?
Yeah. So in this scene, you could totally do that if one.
I think there's only two lines. There's only like I think she only says like, when will I go back to New Hampshire? When will I see you? Will I see you again? I don't know. I think that's the only dialogue.
It's very slow.
3 lines of the whole thing.
But it would be funny if you did have a scene with a lot of dialogue. The dialogue went down in volume, and then you had a narrator interpreting it.
Yeah.
Like, wait. Are you trying to tell me at this moment Sonny is breaking protocol? I guess it's kind of like a director's cut.
Oh, the narrator. Yeah, like a commentary.
Yeah.
Commentary track. Yeah. Well, so.
Wait, I got one more funny idea about that. What if you had, let's just go back to the original meeting with the Turk. So Santino's voice starts, wait. You trying to tell me his volume goes down, and then you have.
The Don.
No, you have Sonny Corleone 20 years later narrating on top of that. Like, yeah, in that moment, I was stunned that he was offering finance. And that's why I really wanted to make sure that this deal is how he's presenting it.
It's almost like a reality show now where it would cut and, they would show a scene of Sonny like later being like, boy, I really put my foot in my mouth. Right, I couldn't believe Sonny said that in front of everybody.
It wouldn't work so much with Sonny because he doesn't live another week.
Right. Yeah. Well, it's never clear with those things when some of those things are taking place in reality shows, if it's right when it's happening or anyway. Yeah. But so I watched a YouTube video this past week. I shared it over at the Fredo Corleone's Mickey Mouse nightclub. It was called, it's on Facebook if you want to check that out. It was called The Path to Self-Destruction on the channel Nerd Soup. And it was basically like 20 minutes sort of analyzing specifically Michael Corleone's rise and fall in the, and I found it very informative. I was like, we should have this guy on as a guest or something. But
definitely. Let's do it.
Yeah. I'll look into it actually. Yeah. I think I'm still it's funny because I still, when I watch a YouTube video or listen to a podcast, I'm like, oh, well, they're like really famous though. Yeah. Those people are like really famous. Like they would want to come on our show. And I'm like, well, our Star Wars Minute, this show maybe not so much, but Star Wars Minute is like a popular show. I should have more like confidence in our ability to
definitely.
So.
Yeah. I can't wait to ask.
Yeah.
Well, and you said this show, not so much. Well, maybe not now, but 5 years from now.
It's true.
Because we will still be doing
it personally, is what you're saying.
Because we will be just about starting GF3 5 years from now. That's the irony when more people get to know the show and that there'll be more motivation to be on the show. We'll be doing GF3 and no
Tell me about it. We spent 3 years doing the Star Wars prequels. I think I know what you're talking about. So anyway, yeah. So
and is this the YouTube analysis?
It's the YouTube that's on the internet. That one.
Oh, that YouTube. Oh, I thought you were talking about you, just letter U and then tube.
Like tubing.
Yeah. YouTubing.
Yeah, a whole lot of YouTubing.
Is this the one where the analysis began, where he was talking about Puzo's second opportunity to improve on the story?
Yeah, he was saying that basically that the movie, because I don't know if you've heard, but the book is different than the movie.
Oh, no.
The book is different than the movie. The book is different than the movie. The book is different. The book is different. The book is different than the movie. Yeah.
Okay, go on.
So so he was saying basically that the movie is essentially the second draft of the story. Like you can take the stuff that worked from the other thing. Okay, we're going to cut out all the Johnny stuff and the giant vagina and all that stuff, and let's focus on the best elements of the story. And so that's not an opportunity that a lot of authors get to do.
Yeah, because even though I'm still making my way through the book, it's definitely not as strong as the movie.
Yeah,
and even if Puzo had an opportunity to rewrite the book, which I guess is essentially the screenplay, although it's a different medium.
Yeah, you have to focus on dialogue and action in a movie as opposed to a book where you can kind of
go off on Lucy and
flashbacks and describing stuff that happened in the past. That's different than in a movie.
Johnny's childhood friend Nino in Hollywood trying to make it in a business. Yeah. Oh, yeah, Lucy. A lot about her.
Mama.
Papa. Yeah, so let's invite that guest to our
But anyway, so he had an interesting point about Kay. He's one of the last time we see Kay for a while, I think, until and I guess in the middle of Sicily, she shows up.
Yeah.
Shows
up unannounced,
asking Tom to deliver a letter to him, but he can't do that because then he'll have to show cause in the morning.
Yeah.
So he's saying, we tease Kay a lot because she doesn't get to do a lot in the movies, but he was saying that she performs an important function in the movie, especially at the beginning, because she's kind of our gateway to. It's always a good thing when you have it's a handy storytelling trick to have someone who's new to the situation. Because then there's a reason for people to be explaining a lot of stuff to them. Like, oh, here's how it works around here. We do this, and you're kind of setting up the environment. So,
and that happens in the very beginning of this movie with Buonasera. He doesn't know how to get the Don.
It's true.
A favor from the Don. And so the Don's like, oh, you never asked me over. He's explaining how that whole thing works.
Yeah, revealing himself to be like, oh, I'm not a killer for money.
Santino does it in the meeting with the Turk. He's like, wait, you trying to tell me that the Tatali's are guaranteeing our investment?
Well, that's getting slightly different because it's that's just putting in exposition and so on. It does work in that scene. Yeah. So in the first scene where obviously Michael is asking her how she likes her lasagna, and introducing her to Fredo, and
telling a story about Johnny's rise to fame and the band leader, the contract.
Yeah, you learn a lot about the family and stuff, and so. And also, like in the first part of the movie, Kay is always wearing bright, colorful clothes in contrast to the more subdued tones of the Corleones were always dressed in dark and drab colors. But then after they get married, she's always wearing like washed out drab colors after that point. So anyway, I thought that was an interesting.
He also pointed out that Michael in the opening, we've been calling it the wedding scene, but it's really not the wedding. They've already been married. Someone pointed that out on Fredo Corleone's Mickey Mouse.
Yeah, it's the reception.
It's the reception scene. I'll go back and I'll scrub it and change the reception scene.
We should just go re-record it. Just start over again.
So in the reception scene,
I mean, technically, he does say my daughter's wedding day. It is part of the. Okay. I think it is. I would say it's part of the wedding ceremony.
Yeah,
it's part of the whole wedding.
Yeah, but they didn't get married there.
So
I'm sure they got married in a church.
Oh yeah, I'm sure they got married in a church.
Catholic weddings cannot take place outside the church.
But if I say, "Oh, I went to a wedding," you're like, "Oh, how was it? It was good." And then you're like, "Oh, was there good drinks and stuff?" Well, there was the wine at the sacramental wine. Oh, you were asking me about the reception? The reception's a totally different thing. You know what I mean? It's kind of
you technically. It's like Hyman Roth. You asked me about the wedding, not the reception.
I didn't ask if there was drinking at the reception. Yeah, so
he points out that at the reception, Michael's wearing his Marines uniform, which you and I had already talked about, showing that he is already apart from his family. But he said that Michael is flaunting his American girlfriend,
right,
to even further accentuate that he is not traditional Sicilian and not going to be a part of what his family is involved in.
Yeah. I mean, the war kind of bookends. There's the two scenes that kind of bookend. There's on Pop's birthday where he announces that he joined the Marines, and that's kind of like, whoa, I can't believe that was clearly a sign that he was breaking away from.
Yeah.
And then when he shows up at the wedding with an American girlfriend, and it's really a way of asserting his independence.
Yeah, and the point that Kay is there, so it's another important
right
part of her role.
Yeah.
Can you believe the nerve of them bombing us on Pop's birthday? I can't do a good Sonny. I guess you got to just talk kind of fast, right?
Well,
Yeah, the nerve of those guys dropping bombs on Pop's birthday.
Where'd you go to college? You go stupid? Yeah, it's like fast.
Fast in New York.
Yeah, it's tougher.
That's the way to do it. You touch my sister again, I'll kill you.
So another interesting observation he made was about, so there are two other observations. One is specifically, I'll do the other one first because I don't have it written down. But he was saying basically the flaw of the Corleone family is that the three sons, who are Fredo, Mikey, and Sonny, all got different but important aspects. They all have important aspects that the Don has, but they're all missing critical aspects. They basically, Sonny, Fredo, and Michael together form the Don.
Oh, interesting.
Because Sonny has his like ambition and his aggression and his ruthlessness. Mikey has his strategic mind and his like long-term planning and things like that, but Fredo has his like heart and his like empathy for people. Like Michael fails because he's just totally like a strategist. He's not a, he doesn't have any. That's why he loses his family, despite what Mama says.
No, Alex, you can never lose your family. Come on, where'd you go to college? You got stupid. I think that's really. It's so interesting to point that out, and it makes the part where Mikey has Fredo killed even more significant because it's the strategic component winning over the
heart,
the empathetic part of the Don's character.
Yeah.
And it makes you wonder that in the long run, for the Don, if the Don had lived, let's just say forever, would he have been able to hold on to power with that trio of characteristics, or is it inevitable that the strategic element of his being would have had to exert itself more in order to survive? If you have empathy, well, you eventually just get beaten out. Yeah.
Well, I don't know. It depends because I think that empathy and that ability to relate to humans, to people, is what, like, that's why the politicians all are in the Don's pocket, because it clearly has that. And as soon as the Don is out, they're like, oh, all bets are off. Like, we're going to lose our political contacts. Yeah. So that personal connection is an important thing. But
isn't it funny that it's kind of odd that matters? It would seem like common sense, but I guess in the world of numbers and money and influence, it would seem like it would really all come down to math, but that human element is so important.
Well, I think increasingly we live in a world where we're all living in a Michael Corleone world, increasingly, where it's all about like just ruthless, like facts and figures and like whatever the most logical thing to do is, that's what you have to do. And we'll see how that worked out for Mikey. How will it work out for society? We'll see.
Yeah, maybe you can lose your family after all.
It doesn't even matter. Are they profitable? Then who cares?
I have a new family. It's called Immobiliari.
Watching my new brother, Andrew Jackson, and his Benjamin Franklin and Ulysses S. Grant.
Oh my gosh. Will we make it to GF3?
Will we?
Will you and I make it to GF3?
We'll get there, Pop.
By the way, we do have to talk later about how we saw a little snippet of a movie with Joe Mantegna in it last night.
Yeah, that's right. What was the?
I guess we'll talk about it now.
Yeah, what was the? I remember what the movie was.
The Three Amigos.
Oh, that's right. We started watching the Three Amigos,
which I had never seen before.
I'd never seen it either.
Oh, okay.
And then you guys totally bailed on it halfway.
Like, did we? Oh, it was kind of late.
Yeah, it was. Kind of. Yeah,
but Joe Mantegna, kind of movie you can watch late.
Yeah.
You have to be fresh and focused.
Joe Mantegna to play a very cartoony,
like a movie executive.
Yeah. Oh no. It's like the combination of Joey Zaza and Waltz.
And Waltz, he was.
And Fifi from The Last Don.
Pee-pee. Not Fifi.
Pee-pee's not much better, I guess.
No. That's why he's such a badass, too, because he's got this wimpy name.
You have to it's like Boy Named Sue. You always have to be fighting.
Yeah, exactly. It was his dad that gave him that name?
No, really?
Yeah. I did not know that until I heard that song. I'm not kidding.
That's the whole point. That's the whole.
Yeah, but
Also,
I guess I hadn't heard the song
Yeah,
for
that's
20
true.
years or
Yeah.
something, so I had forgotten that it was
The punchline.
It was Sue's father.
Yeah.
that named him that.
Shel Silverstein wrote the lyrics for that song.
Shel Silverstein, the author, the children's author.
Yeah, the where the sidewalk ends and
really
so on.
Wow.
Yeah,
How did
he
that
wrote-
come to be?
He wrote a bunch of songs actually.
Oh, wow.
That
Lyrics.
Yeah, song lyrics. He tended to write kind of like novelty kind of
Yeah.
songs like that. Like
Oh, is that a novelty song? Is that what you're telling me?
that is definitely a novelty
Really?
song. Cool. It has a punchline to it. So
Yeah,
any
but
song where
but
you
musically, it's
not musically, but
Yeah.
we were getting off the track here. But I don't think that all novelty songs necessarily need to sound funny.
Okay.
Like if you listen to A Boy Named Sue and you don't speak English, it doesn't sound like a novelty
No,
song.
no.
But the lyrics are what makes it a novelty song.
So are there other? Maybe we shouldn't go into this.
Yes.
My other question, you don't need to answer it, is: are there other novelty songs that do not sound noveletic, but just lyrically they're novelty songs, like "Boy Named Sue"?
I don't know. Maybe
Because Weird Al always has a little accordion in there when you don't expect it.
not necessarily. A lot of his songs sound really close to the. I would say.
I mean
Weird
the
Al.
parodies, though. I'm talking
Yeah.
about the parodies.
Yeah. Anyway, okay, we'll have to
Yeah.
save this for a whole
Save it.
nother
Okay.
topic. But so the last thing, Nerdwriter, the last point I'll bring up is the whole Apollonia and Sicily elements.
Okay.
Basically, the whole purpose of that scene is to the whole Sicily thing is because Michael commits the crime, and then goes to hide in Sicily. He shoots.
Well, he's not hiding. He did not shoot anyone, as the Don will point out. He was falsely accused and had to flee for his
true.
safety. For his safety.
that cop got mixed up in the rackets. It's a good story.
It's a great story. So Michael's in Sicily.
So Michael's in Sicily, and since he more or less is now like joined in with the like that was basically him committing to the life of the mob, right?
Yeah, yeah.
And so when he goes to Sicily, he's basically seeing like what life was like for his father, like this is the place where his father grew up, and this
Yeah.
is like his father married a woman just like out. So it's basically him kind of living out Don Corleone's life. He marries a traditional Sicilian woman.
Yeah.
He kind of really gets involved in the whole scene. So by the time he gets back, he's almost like lived a whole nother.
Yeah.
He's like lived a whole like Sicilian life in
Yeah.
that, to totally get rid of that whole American, it pulls him back into the Sicilian
Yeah.
side of the ledger. So,
And I am reading the book as we go. Maybe I should read the whole thing to get better perspective, but I wonder if
it's too much perspective.
I wonder if anyone in the Corleone family had thought of that as a positive byproduct of Michael needing to flee, that he's going to truly get back to his Sicilian roots, and it will lock him into
supporting the family.
supporting the family and how can I say this, getting back to his Sicilian roots.
Yeah. Well, of course, at that point, they didn't know that he was going to be the person in charge.
Well, I don't want to give it away. I guess I will right now. When Michael, in a few minutes, offers to shoot the Turk and McCluskey, Sonny in the book says, "Oh, I always knew that you would join the family and be a part of our business."
Interesting.
Yeah.
Yeah. How far away? That's like what, like 10 minutes from now or something? How
Well,
long?
when Mikey shoots the Turk and McCluskey?
Yeah, when does Mikey shoot? How far away is that?
Well, I'm glad you asked. Let's listen.
Boy, you got whacked, but we still got the Turk. And this Captain McCluskey, he's a stupid jerk. They're gonna kill Pop so their bank accounts can fill. Sonny, relax. It's business, not personal.
Business, not personal.
We need a plan, and Tessio's our man.
All my arrangements.
Wait a minute. Have a seat, then order your meal. Drink some wine, try the veal.
The best in the city.
Ask for permission, then go to the can. When you come back, you'll have more than your dick in your hand. 2 shots each, you'll be on the next flight to Sicily.
It's perfect for us. They got an old-fashioned toilet.
Shoot the Turk and McCluskey till how many days until you do? We're counting down. Come count with me. You ain't gonna miss the Turk or Paulie.
I know, I take one.
We're counting down in this song. Michael and Enzo can't protect me very long.
For your father.
Shoot the Turk. Yeah, you'll break some laws. But in the morning, you won't have to show cause. We're counting down, so lots of life. Read the gun, don't upset Clemenza's wife.
Kaynoli.
We're counting down, so take your pick. It's no more Salazzo, or no more Salazzo chicks.
I'm not that clever.
We're counting down, count with me. No more Salazzo, no more McCluskey.
Why, you little punk?
Shoot the Turk, shoot the Turk. Wait a minute, shoot the Turk, shoot the Turk, shoot the Turk, shoot the Turk. Wait a minute, shoot the Turk.
So how many minutes, Alex, do you think?
Well, let's see. We are minute 62, and I'm going to guess the shooting happens in...
62.
So let's see. He has to go to the hospital. Your father gets beat up by McCluskey. Then there's the conversation about shooting, about the nice new Ivy League suit, bada bing.
Oh, and but don't forget, after Mikey gets socked by McCluskey has to go before the judge in the morning and show cause. Yeah, and then they have to set up the whole plan. They have to wait for the call.
Perfect. I'm going to say 10 minutes.
10 minutes, and we're in 62?
We're in 62.
We're in 62. It's a little bit longer, Alex. It actually takes place in minute 90.
No, so we're like almost half an hour away?
Yeah, 90
What
on the
what?
button, yeah.
Wow.
It's called Shoot the Turk Countdown, and if you join our supporter network, you can add it to your playlist pretty soon, right?
Well, I thought we released them after the minute
that's
has
right.
passed.
So the Kaynoli Countdown is posted.
The Kaynoli Countdown is now available for our Patreon supporters. You can go to godfatherminute.com/support. It's so right now you can get the Godfather, you can get the Kaynoli Countdown, and you can get the Alex fake out Shoot the Turk countdown, the one that Andy played. Although actually the people don't know that, they haven't heard that, the fake out version.
Oh, that's true.
That wasn't played on the regular one.
Oh,
So
yeah.
anyway, another thing you have to look forward to if you become a supporter.
Yeah,
So
a lot of goodies in that.
a lot of goodies,
Yeah, whole lot of goodies in that supporter link. So minute 90, so we got a lot going
all right,
on before
so settle
then.
down and then stand them up. So a couple of other things about this minute. The exterior of the hospital that we see there.
Oh, yeah. That's the end of this scene.
That was the end of this scene. That it was apparently filmed at the Lincoln Hospital in the Bronx, which is on 140th Street and Southern Boulevard. You used to live in the Bronx. You know where that is?
I know. Yeah, I know where it is. I don't know if I've been by it.
Oh, it's not there anymore. Don't go look for it. It was torn down. So I think it's now like a police, something to do with the NYPD has like a facility there or something like that. But yeah, so go check that out.
Oh, it's very ironic that there's a police facility there now. And after McCluskey had pulled all the guards off.
That's true.
That Don's got a lot of pull. Now he's a whole precinct guarding him.
Like in the middle of the whole facility, there's just one little bed with him in it. And this minute also introduces a musical theme that will be recurring for the next that dun 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 that tension.
Oh, that's great.
You're a music guy. Why
yeah.
why is music like that? What is there a certain element that makes it like? Are there certain notes that sound more?
You mean one key that's more saddest of all keys?
Yeah,
Alex?
like
I
minor. keys?
I haven't studied formally a history of music, but my guess is that certain sounds evoke certain images and eras. For example, when you hear a gong like that,
when you bang a gong.
yeah, I mean that seemed to me that resonates
Asia.
old Europe.
Old Europe.
Yeah, the gong gong, like a bell in an old church.
Oh, okay.
Like in a
not
church
like a
square.
gong. Because a gong, you think of Asia.
Yeah, oh yeah, not a gong. I mean like
Yeah.
a bell. Like
Okay,
a church
yeah, like
bell,
a
that
tolling
kind of
bell,
thing.
yeah,
a tolling bell, yeah.
Yeah.
because that's what it kind of sounds like, with
It
maybe
does have
some strings on it.
Yeah, it has like yeah.
Yeah, and generally minor keys are sad. Major keys, happy.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah.
So is this a minor key? This dun,
Yeah.
dun. Okay.
Yeah, with the accompanying
The
other
horns
stuff
and
too.
stuff,
Yeah.
the
Well, if you just have
mournful
one note, you haven't established a key yet.
Okay.
You have to have more than one note.
Got it. Yeah, and that's all I have for minute 62. Not a heck of a lot going on. It's a lot of
Kay, this
transition scene.
Yeah, it's definitely a transition scene.
Farewell to Kay for now.
She's going back to New Hampshire.
Next time she sees Mikey, he will be a double murderer and a widower.
And a widower, although she won't know that. Did she ever find out?
I don't think so.
Gosh.
Unless it comes
crazy.
up in Godfather 3, it might come up. So we'll have to stay tuned for that.
Maybe when she delivers the letter to Hagen while he's still in Sicily, he says, "I'm sorry, I can't take that letter, Kay. It would mean that I had knowledge of his whereabouts, and also his current wife would not be happy."
Wait, what do you mean current wife?
But by the
Don't
time
take it personal, Kay.
it's business, Kay. No, it is. It's actually personal. It's not business, Kay. It's personal. The Don wouldn't accept this letter either. It's personal, Kay. But by the time
So she should have been like, "Oh, Tom, it's just business. It's not personal."
yeah. Oh, she just flipped it.
Oh,
just flipped it.
He would have been like, "Yeah, it just might."
She ends up becoming this crime lord.
She's
Wins
really-
Hagen over.
It was Kay all along.
She could have been the assistant principal, the principal, the superintendent. There wasn't enough time, Kay. But really, by the next time we see her, she will have gone through a teacher education preparation program, got her license, be working in public schools.
Do you think she did get her license, or you think the Don pulled some strings and pulled some strings like so many puppeteers?
Gosh, I'm looking forward to the part in the book in Sicily, because I do wonder about what's happening in New York at that time, beyond the war of the
mattresses.
families. Yeah, like is Kay, like does Don have any interactions with Kay, or is she just kind of on the outside?
I think she's on the outs.
Yeah.
I think she's out.
Right. Oh, she's out.
Yeah.
Well, why do you insult her like that, Alex? She can help.
Yeah, because I don't think they liked her much anyway. So,
Yeah.
I don't think they're going to go out of their way to be friends with Michael's. If anything, they should be lining up good Italian girls for him to woo him when he comes back.
Maybe the whole shooting of The Godfather, the hospital scene, Mikey gets socked, shooting of the Turk and McCluskey was all staged by Don Corleone just to get him to Sicily to reconnect with his roots. And to get a real Sicilian wife.
So what about in Sonny too? He killed Sonny.
Hey, casualty, man.
Wow.
He always knew Mikey would be the one. He didn't want this one. He wanted him to be senator.
Yeah, that's that ruthlessness that keeps him on top. It's funny that they had Connie marry some candy store guy instead of like. Shouldn't she have married like the son of like the Tatalias or something? Isn't that something they do to like cement?
That's
like like alliances and stuff.
I mean, European royalty used to do that,
Yeah.
which made sense. But I don't know if it makes sense in crime families, because you don't want to be sharing.
But isn't
Are you
that a
saying
way
to
of kind of
merge a
like,
business, or to more to?
well, just as a sort of like the same reason
have peace.
the crowns did it, as a way of saying like, listen, we have a family bond here, so we know we're cool with each other.
Oh, so they won't war.
We don't waste any time fighting each other. We can fight outside people.
As long as Spain's interests don't interfere with France's.
Exactly. Yeah. I guess it would also depend on the like whoever the man was, presumably would then have more power in the other person's. If Connie married Bruno Tattaglia because of his suave magic tricks, then that would mean that the Tattaglias would probably have a bigger stake in the Corleones side of thing rather than the other. Well, just because the men tend to have more of the control, of the dominance.
Yeah.
Although Connie,
but maybe it would just be understood that Bruno Tattaglia wouldn't have
this is just
really no role. Never give him a living. Give him a living as doing card tricks.
Don't insist. Anyway,
Well,
we'll get to more of Carlo and Connie later on.
Yeah.
So, all right, I guess that'll wrap up minute 62. We're, of course, going to stick around for our bonus content.
Bonus. I actually got to rate it.
Oh, that's right. 2.
Yeah, I'm going 2.
If
It's
there's any-
watchable.
If there's any 2-star minutes, this is it.
Yeah, I agree too.
Not that it's bad. It's just there's just nothing happening
It's
in it.
purely transition.
It's nothing. It's
We got
nothing.
and we got some good minutes coming up.
If a movie is 3 hours long like this one is, they probably could have cut this a minute out. It should have went right from.
Oh.
It should have went right from here saying, "When will I see you again?" I don't know, and then cut to him immediately going, "There's no one here. There's no one here guarding Pop." Like just
Yeah.
trim out all that.
Yeah, right.
fat.
All that fat. All that
Yeah.
Godfather 1, greatest movie ever made, fat.
Yeah, totally. Yeah.
So before we get to our sign off, is that what
Yes.
you call it in radio and podcasting?
Sure.
Sign off.
Hey,
Okay.
we're making up the rules as we go. You
Okay.
can call it whatever you want.
Well, our listeners know the cannoli have been eaten. They've been taken. The gun has been left. All that is past.
Clemenza's wife, very happy right now.
Very happy. She's already working on GF2 contract negotiations for her husband.
You are going to be the star of this one.
So our latest one, if you remember, has been Stand 'Em Up.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
But I also thought another good one. Just throwing it out there. Until next time, I buy you out. You don't buy me out.
Well, okay. I like the sentiment, but I feel like it should connect with, because the last one had to do with the minute we were counting down
yeah.
to. So it should be something ideally with the scene where he shoots McCluskey and.
Oh yeah. Okay. How about this? This here. Maybe
I'm not that clever.
Or how about until next time, I'm gonna speak a time with Mikey. Is that okay? Sure. And then you go, sure.
Sure. Okay.
No, that's kind of
Yeah. We should find out what the Sicilian is that when he's talking
yeah.
in Sicilian. That's what we'll say. All right, so we'll come up with we'll try to come up with a
okay.
line.
In the meantime, until next time,
Stand 'em up. Sure.